Hello again, beautiful beings, and welcome back to Joshua Tree. It's absolutely gorgeous here. It's very hot outside, but it's beautiful, and I'm super excited that I'm back here. And we have a new addition. I don't know if you can hear my dog drinking extremely loudly. But I do have a new addition to the EA tribe and the EA family. And this is actually a Joshua Tree resident and and a gift from my mother-in-law, who this is her property. So check it out. He has a name as well. Look at this thing. This is awesome. So this is an art installment by a local artist, and it's made out of bottle caps, beer bottle caps. His name is Ollie, and my mother-in-law, Natasha's mom, felt like he was a gray. I feel like he's a gray too, almost like a gray child. So we're gonna dress him up and put hats on him and stuff. His name is Ollie, by the way. So just so you guys know. Hi. Yeah. So cute. Awesome. So today we're talking about Jesus. I hope that today's audience is a little bit of, maybe Christian folks and a little bit of maybe non-Christian folks. Abigail, can you not? She's getting all flustered. It's because her other mom's out there. So we're talking about Jesus, and this is a concept that really permeates beyond religion. It really permeates beyond belief. So whether you are religious or not, or believe, even in Jesus, I think that this is a very important video to go through. So I'm going to be talking a lot about different things within Jesus himself. I'm going to be talking about my own personal experiences with Jesus. Believe it or not, I have a bunch. I'm also going to kind of make some statements, whether you guys want to, whether you guys resonate with the statements or not, that's up to you. But I'm going to make some statements about what I believe Jesus, who he was, really, and really what happened during his lifetime. And then we're going to go into why is this all important? Why is it important in general to talk about Jesus at all? And we're going to talk about Christ consciousness. So actually, it's been a little while since I've spoken to Jesus and brought his energy in, but when I was writing all this information down, I did bring him in because I wanted to ask him about Christ consciousness and how we can all step into that vibration and energy. So he has a little message for all of us as well, right at the end of the video. Before I begin, I just want to mention, if this content is impactful for you, or you feel like this has changed your life or helped you for the better, there's so many ways that you can give back, not just monetarily or financially, but just liking this video, sharing this video, especially with the Jesus video. I think it's important that people kind of know who he was, just as a soul. And then of course, if you do have the funds, donations, super chats, and even just signing up for the YouTube membership really do support me and give back. So if this stuff resonates with you, those are all great ways to give back. We also have the Galactic Federation recording from yesterday, which was the 11th, and it was so much fun. We went into so many amazing things. We talked about how we can better telepathically connect to our cosmic and star family. We talked about the ascension symptoms and what we should be feeling and what we can do when we're in the ascension as well. We talked a little bit about maybe December 21st. A lot of content is a blur, but it was really powerful. And one more thing as well is I do have a shift masterclass out there. It took me quite a while to develop this, about a year to put it all together. And it is going to take you from the 3rd dimension frequency into the fifth dimension frequency. And it allows you to be accountable to yourself, but you really do have to show up. So if you are interested in shifting and having a structure to shift, then I highly recommend checking out the Shift Masterclass. You can even sign up for an account, check out all of the material that's a part of the course, and there's no obligation to pay. You can just sign up, create an account, check it out, and then see how you feel later on. So I also want to mention too, I think I know a lot of you know that I love my pens, right? I love my colored pens, and I do bring them into examples often. And so the other day, I took all of my pens and I switched up the ink cartridge within them, right? And I wanted to do this because I wanted to switch into a new reality. Okay, I know it's weird, right? Maybe not. So my blue pen was pink, and my purple pen was orange, and my red pen was blue or green or whatever, right? So I did this, and I wanted to do this because I'm so attuned to color, right? I'm like, yes, today I'm feeling blue, and I'll write in blue because that's the vibration that I feel. But I feel like I'm too structured with color. Anywho, so I changed all of my pen inks, right? And then today, I'm like going to use my red pen, which I know is not red. And all of a sudden, there was red ink that came out of it. And I'm like, what? Like one of those Mandela effects, like shocked, I'm like, what? And then I'm like, why did this happen? And then I used the blue pen and it's blue ink, right? And I'm like, what's going on? And then I tune into it and I said, why did this Mandela effect happen, right? Why did it switch back to normal? And literally I get this flash of me like 2 days after switching it all, which I switched it last week, so it hasn't been a long time. And 2 days after, I'm like, man, I really wish it was back to normal. I literally made that statement and then it went back to normal. And then I'm like, I just got what I asked for, right? But I didn't actually make a physical change in order to switch back to that other timeline. I just thought that was a really cool glitch in the matrix that I wanted to share with all of you that happened literally as I'm writing down the content of this video. So, okay, so let's deep dive into Jesus. I'm going to start off with my personal connection to Jesus and the experiences that I've had with him and why I have the knowledge that I have at this point in time. And I just want to say thank you, everyone, for the super chats. You guys are really incredible and so supportive. So I really appreciate those. Okay, so I first got connected with Jesus back in 2010. And the reason why is because I started astral traveling, remote viewing, getting flashbacks of past lifetimes. And then I started asking questions that I think anyone would ask, especially me in having... In growing up Catholic, right? One of my questions was, who was Jesus? Like, what was really going on back then? Was he actually alive? Was he just a myth? Like, what actually happened? So that was one of the first things that I actually ever explored was Jesus. Who is this guy? And so I went back, I astral traveled back, and I saw him. Like, I literally saw him as a man. So, he does exist and live. And I was just kind of exploring his lifetime and who he was and what he was able to do. So that was one of the first kind of places that I went when I was able to channel in a controlled, conscious way. And we'll talk about some of the information that I received from those channels in a little bit. The second time I channeled Jesus, I wasn't really drawn to him. He's never really been like... my number one go-to teacher. I really don't even have an ascended master that's a teacher. I would say I love Buddhism a lot, but I never really tap into Buddha and ask him questions. Like, I feel like I just intrinsically understand Buddhism. Anyway, so 2010, first time I was introduced to him and kind of observed his life. It wasn't until 2015 when I was doing events in Toronto. And I was doing a workshop, an event with a couple of my other spiritual friends. And boom, there he was, this beautiful, every time he comes into my energy, it's golden light. Like, it's like the most intense golden light energy. And it's all coming from his heart space. And it's so much profound love, like so much profound unconditional love. I can't even explain the feeling of that unconditional love. And in 2015, when he came into my energy, I didn't even ask him there, but he just came in and he gave me a gift. And I can still see the gift today. It literally looked like a golden egg. And around the egg was all of this, it almost looked like the golden egg was carved. And there was all of these carvings all around the golden egg. And I knew that the golden egg opened, but he told me not to open it or to open it when I was ready. And now that I think about it, I've never really consciously went back there and explored it, but he gave me this gift, this golden egg gift. And it was definitely like a gift of knowledge. And I'm sure I've opened it subconsciously, and worked with that information, but that was really beautiful. Oh yeah, and then every once in a while, Jesus will come through into my energy, especially when I'm having a hard time with humanity. Like when I get very frustrated with humanity, this doesn't happen too much anymore, if at all anymore. But back in the day, I used to get very frustrated and with this feeling of being very alone and feeling like no one really understood or was really taking the time to understand. And he would always come into my energy and he would give me compassion for humanity. And that's the number one thing that Jesus is so good at as an ascended master is compassion and unconditional love. Like he is the teacher for compassion and unconditional love. So he always comes in and teaches me how to be more compassionate towards humanity and humans in general. So that was really nice. And then a month ago, I don't know if you guys follow me on Instagram, but my wife and I went to Ojai. End of August, I guess it was. And I decided to go meditate. I think she was doing some work. So I went to this little river in Ojai. I took my book and I took some oracle cards. And one of the decks that I have is Brian Weiss and I think Dolores Cannon. And it's a past life deck. So I'm like, yeah, let's see what past life I need to release in this moment, right? Let's do some past life clearing. So I pulled a card, or actually I think it fell out of the deck, and it was the religion. It was a religion card. So I'm like, ooh, this is interesting. And it had a priest on the front of it. And when I tap into it, I tap into this past lifetime that I didn't even know was there. And it was a past life where I was a man during the time of Jesus. I was alive. I had extremely dark curly hair, like black. Yeah, I guess it was black, huge black beard, black curly hair on the top. I was a big guy. Like I was probably like 6'3", heavier, but kind of like a big teddy bear. And I was a follower of Jesus, believe it or not. It was so wild. I just never could ever picture myself as a follower of Jesus, but I was. And I would follow Jesus and his whole group of people, because he had, maybe at first he had 5 people, but then it was like hundreds, probably like 100 to 300 people all following him. And Jesus would go from town to town, very similar to what Buddha did. And he would teach, right? And he would teach and he would just amass these people and these teachings. So I was never like a big fan of him. I really loved his content. I thought he was a marvelous teacher, but I was always like in the background, right? I was never at the front row. I was always just kind of observing from afar. And one thing that I observed during my lifetime, during that time, now I also understand when I astral traveled back into Jesus's life back in 2010, I'm like, oh, that's why it was so vivid for me, because I was actually incarnated during that time. So I wasn't just creeping on Jesus's lifetime. I was creeping on my own lifetime and I didn't even know it. And the thing is that I observed Jesus and in his teachings, and then I observed a lot of the backlash that he got and a lot of the hate that he got in his teachings. And then I observed his death, right? And in my mind, as that man, I'm like, well, I'm never going to be a teacher because of this. Because this guy, Jesus, right? All he's doing is teaching love, unconditional love, and people are still hating on him for teaching unconditional love. If that guy is getting persecuted, if that guy is getting thrown up on the cross, then screw that. I'm not going to step into that. So I had my own knowledge and wisdom, but that kind of locked it in of I don't want to be persecuted. And that closed me off. And once again, by reviewing that past lifetime, just at the end of August, it really did unlock a huge block in my throat chakra in understanding I am safe to open up. I'm safe to be a teacher, in this lifetime. I'm not going to get persecuted or killed for my beliefs, right? So yeah, super interesting. So that's my one-on-one personal experience with Jesus and my exploration. So let's talk about some of the information that I have gained access to from observing his life. The first thing that I want to say is Jesus was real. Like, he was a man. I know that for whatever reason it is contested out there. There are people who believe that he wasn't even a man, or he wasn't alive, or, all of these stories are embellished. But for sure, he was alive. He was a man. He was the real deal. There are definitely some falsehoods or embellishments within the Bible, but there's also a lot of things that you would think are embellishments that are actually the truth. I never saw him. Yeah, I don't remember seeing him walk on water. I do remember seeing him literally manifesting food out of thin air, and turning bread into fish, or there was something with the food that he did that was mind-blowing. And I also saw him as well turning water into wine. What he was an alchemist. He was a master alchemist, right? By this point in time, we should all just agree upon the fact that physics, traditional physics and the laws of physics are an illusion. It's an illusion. Quantum physics are the real deal. We can defy the laws of physics. That's possible, and that's all Jesus did. And the second that we step into his vibrational frequency, Christ consciousness, we can defy the laws of physics as well. We can step into the realm of full alchemy mastery, okay? A couple of other things here. I do believe that Jesus himself, as an incarnated man, was in 5D frequency. He wasn't always that way in his life, and I'll talk about that. I believe that he did have Christ consciousness. Obviously, we call it Christ consciousness after him, right? As far as him being the Son of God, I mean, we're all the sons and daughters of God. Not to be too religious on you, but yeah, so there's nothing special there. He's just very close and connected to Source, right? So it was a bit of a misinterpretation. I also believe that he is an ascended master. I believe that he is an ascended master now, but I believe that when he was here, incarnated into a physical male body, I don't believe he was an ascended master. I believe that part of his training to become and step into that ascended masterhood, he needed to be here and teach his teachings, right? Which is really cool. So, so I believe that he is an ascended master now. Okay, and I also want to say too, physically, I believe that Jesus had very high amounts of Palladian DNA within him. Okay, very high amounts of Palladian DNA. I believe that his family lineage actually went back in time to ancient Lemuria and ancient Atlantis. I believe that he had Atlantean DNA lineage, which is essentially Palladian DNA within him, and that allowed him to get to a certain vibrational frequency. Okay? Once again, guys, take it or leave it. Take any of this or all of this, as long as it resonates with you, it's for you. If not, no big deal, right? It's totally fine. The last thing that I wanted to mention, he was able to defy the laws of physics. And there was one more thing that I wanted to mention. What was it? Oh man, what was it? Ugh, okay, I'll leave it for now. Yeah, I'll leave it for now. Oh yeah, this is what, okay, cool. This is what it was. Upon observing his life, he did not begin his teachings until he was probably like early to mid-20s. So where was he in all of the years before he started teaching these incredible teachings? I believe that he did seek out information from the East. I believe that he did go on a journey. And I believe that in a lot of ways, he learned from very powerful Buddhist masters. And we need to realize that Buddha, okay, who was another beautiful, incredible, powerful ascended master, was born 500 years prior to Jesus being born. Okay, I actually wouldn't even be surprised if they are the same incarnation or the same soul, right? Reincarnated. I absolutely would not be surprised. I don't know what other channelers say about that, but I also haven't channeled that myself. Ultimately, Buddha came before Jesus. I believe that Jesus went to the East. I believe that the majority of his teachings came from his own meditations, not necessarily from others' teachings, but he learned how to meditate at that time. He became actualized, he became enlightened, just like Buddha did after 7 years sitting under the Bodhi tree, understanding all of his past lifetimes, and then he became Buddha, and then he became the teacher. I believe that a very similar journey ensued with Jesus, okay? And there is really indeed a huge gap in the Bible of, great, all of a sudden he's 25 and he's this profound teacher. What happened before that? He was not just a carpenter, okay? He was seeking that information. We need to realize that this is most likely true, okay? If it resonates with you. The reason why we need to realize that Jesus did his own work is because so many of us idolize teachers like Jesus and Buddha, thinking one day they just woke up, or they were just intrinsically born with this knowledge and awareness, and they were enlightened. And that's not the case. They actually went through all of the journey steps that we're all going through right now at this time, okay? So yeah, just be aware that that they did work. They did work, all right? It didn't just come on all of a sudden. It took time, it took work, it took effort. And I believe both Buddha and Jesus did that work, and the other teachers and grand masters and ascended masters as well. Okay, good. So why is this important? Why is it important to bring up Jesus at this time? Why is it important to bring up Christ consciousness at this time? There are so many reasons, but by far the biggest one is moving into 5D vibration is actually also stepping into Christ consciousness. As a matter of fact, I interchange these terms all the time. 5D, Christ consciousness, ascension, enlightenment, awakening. It's just tough, right? Because we're limited with the English, at least I'm limited with English. And there's so many words to really describe the same basic function. So we are moving back into a time of Christ consciousness, and the vibration on this planet is allowing all of us, oh, there's a hummingbird at the window. Hi. Don't fly into it. And so, it's allowing, the vibration is allowing us all to move into our own Christ consciousness. Okay? Yeah. The biggest thing that separates religious people, I'm going to do that in quotations, and spiritual people or New Age people, okay? The biggest thing that separates these two groups, and I'm hoping that I have a little bit of both of these groups, a bit of the Christians, a bit of the New Agers or whatever, right? Whatever you label yourself as. But the biggest separation is that I just find from my own experience and growing up Catholic that religion tells us that Jesus was the Son of God, the only Son of God, right? That he's something special. And by being something special, he's something different than all of us. So not only are we born in sin, working our entire lifetime just to get rid of the sin and not sin more and not go to hell and then repent our sins and clear the record, and it's wild, right? But we're also told that we will never be Jesus. Like, just imagine if, the Bible taught us that everything that Jesus could do, we could do. Imagine if the Bible taught us that we are the same as Jesus, right? We have the same capabilities. And that would really open things up for us, I believe. I really don't know what the Bible says because I've never read it. Maybe one day I will. That'd be very interesting because I can see right through the illusion, right? And also right through the truth as well. So that's the biggest thing, right? I believe we are Jesus. I believe that we are God. I believe that we have that capability. And that is the biggest thing that I used to get yelled at all the time for by Christians, which is, you must be the devil if you believe that we are all God. Yep. Sue me. I must be the devil if I believe that we all have Christ consciousness within us, right? It's just like the worst, most evil thing that I could possibly ever say. This is so funny. Yeah, we have that within us. We can do that. We are that powerful. And I also want to mention, too, that Jesus in his incarnation, as well as Jesus in his ascended master form, is the purest example of love frequency that I have ever witnessed. Once again, Jesus is the purest example of love, unconditional love frequency that I have ever witnessed. And when I was sitting by the river and I was tapping into this lifetime where I was this man, during Jesus's time, Jesus, he actually came through and we had a good little chat. And what did he say? What was it? He taught me while I was sitting by the river that I can do everything that he did, right? So a lot of the defying the laws of physics and the pure alchemy, right? I can do, and so can all of you, do all those things. But we have to be resonating with the purest vibration of love. And in my mind, I'm like, man, I still get triggered. My human has still got a long way to go before I am there, before I'm at Christ conscious level. That's huge. But once again, he did it in his lifetime. He got there, right? So the other thing too, and then we're going to talk about the messages that he gave me today for all of you in how to get to Christ consciousness is pretty simple. It's really nothing new, but it did come right from him. So it's pretty cool. The other message that came through, and this was very recently, but I totally don't remember what video it was, where I was talking about this. This was recent, in the last month or so. And it came through that December 21st, which is the winter equinox, is a very powerful date for everyone. And essentially, Jesus' birthday on Christmas, right, is a huge cover-up and misguidance for the consumerism of Christmas, which is ridiculous because it goes against everything that Jesus was teaching. It's almost nauseating, right? And actually, I want to tell you all that what I'm planning on doing for my own loved ones this year is making something for them. As a matter of fact, almost every Christmas I've made either a painting or a download or given readings to my friends and family members because it's more heartfelt, right? So I encourage all of you this Christmas, especially in quarantine, to make something for your family members and send it out rather than buying more stuff. We don't need more stuff. We really don't. So anyway, so the information came through. I think it was maybe the GFL that said this, that December 21st was the most powerful portal that we can be utilizing throughout our year. But so many of us are so busy looking over here and worrying about Christmas and getting a huge feast together and buying all the presents and whatever, that we actually miss the portal of December 21st, right? Every single year. And this year is especially powerful. I was mentioning this in the chat room, but I'm going to just kind of plant a seed here right now. I am going to be doing an event on December 21st this year. I'm going to have about 40 people, maybe 30 people in person. And this is going to happen in Malibu in this beautiful, absolutely gorgeous house that I'm going to be renting out, and it overlooks all of Malibu. So if you're in the LA area and you're willing to kind of drive to Malibu, or you're even in Malibu, definitely seed planted. Keep that in mind. I'm going to bring that group of people together. We're going to do a ceremony for December 21st. And then also I'm going to do live streaming so that everyone all around the world can also partake in that event as well. So just kind of being aware of that. I'm putting that together. Tickets, at least for the online portion of it, are going to be really cheap, really accessible. That's what I want for all of you guys, is like super cheap, affordable information that allows me to continue to live, and it also allows you to participate in something that's very revolutionary, and that exchange, that give and take of energy, that $11, right, is that exchange, and that allows for this harmonic resonance, and that actually allows you to receive even more from these downloads of messages and videos and events and what have you. It's a pretty cool system, and I really love working with it that way. This year, because of quarantine, we're not doing all of the Christmas celebrations that we typically would have done. This is a very spiritual and significant year. Don't focus on Christmas, focus on December 21st, okay? And that's what Jesus wants you to do. How funny is it that this guy who was born on what is that? I'm such a bad Catholic. Is that the thing? He was born on that day? Yeah. And he's saying, don't worry about my birthday. Literally, it's completely commercialized. Worry about December 21st. That's where the power is, right? The power of December 21st is to move all of you and align you to Christ consciousness, right? Do you want to be buying more shit? Or do you want to be ascending, right, to the next level? It's really up to you. It's like now Jesus, as an ascended master, is giving us this gift on December 21st of this year. And really, every December 21st is very powerful, but this year especially. Okay, last thing so I asked Jesus, right? I brought him in and I said, all right, Jesus, I've got you here. We're talking all about you. This day is dedicated to you, right? How do we move into Christ consciousness? Like, what is your perception of this? What is your teaching on this? What can you tell us about Christ consciousness? And it's very simple, and that's what he is. He's like just this oversimplified version of pure love in all of the different fractals and all of the different ways. And he said, it's so simple. Just be in love and gratitude. Just be in love and gratitude. And then I asked, how? Right? Because I just want to poke him a little bit more. How? How do we just be in love and gratitude all the time? And he said, don't try. It will just happen after you strip away the fears and attachments. The more that you try to just be, the more that you're missing the frickin' point. And that's what I really got from him today, right? The more that you're trying, the more you're actually taking yourself out of just being, okay? Oh yeah, and then you also mentioned too, he said, December 21st is whatever you make it. And that was a very clear message from him. December 21st is whatever you make it, which means that it's a portal that opens up, that amplifies our energy. So if you're in a shit mood, that's what you're going to make it, right? Which is fine, but that's what you're projecting into your future as well. All right? So once again, if this content is impactful for you, be sure to share, like, subscribe, post this on Instagram. That really helps get the word out as well. People need to know that Jesus was just like all of us, and we can get to his level as well. Check out the new Galactic Federation recording. And other than that, everyone, I love you all so much. Keep up the good work. I'm about to do a little walk around the desert and record a beautiful video for all of my YouTube members. So that's going to be coming out on Thursday. And I am very excited for my little desert walk and talk. So I'll see all my members Thursday. If not, I will see the rest of you on Sunday for a beautiful Q&A. Bye, everyone.